Hey everybody, this is Ashley with J&A Travel Adventures, and I'm here at CVS waiting for hubby to show up so we can get our COVID test done for our trip. It's CT day. I am super nervous and super excited because I'm not really worried about the test. I'm worried about this one result, which I don't feel bad at all. None. Zero. But I'm all worried about this one test totally blowing up our whole trip that we've had to plan twice and do twice. And so here in a second, once he shows up, I will take you through and show you what it's like to have a CT test done at CVS. Hey y'all, I really need to apologize. I had plans for taping our CVS COVID test, but when we pulled up and gave them our names and our birth dates and our confirmation code, the lady informed us that they had a running goal at their CVS to see if they can get people actually through in 2 minutes or less. So it went so fast, we finished in 2 minutes and 10 seconds, that there was no way for me to actually tape it. So I'm going to tell you what we did. The first thing is that they handed us 3 Ziplocs. Of those 3 Ziplocs, 2 were tests and 1 was a wet wipe. Another one. They asked us to take out the tube and the swab. Once we took the swab out, she had us put it in our nose and swirl it around 2 times, then she counted to 15. Take the same swab out, put it in the other nostril, swirl around twice, count to 15 again. She had us take that swab and put it in the tube of liquid, break the stick off at this little dotted line thing, put the top on. Then we put the tube back in the little Ziploc that it came in, rolled it from bottom to top, and then I hopped out of the car, put the tubes in their bags in the drop box, wiped off the drop box, and we were done. Hey everybody, I wanted to tell you the exciting news. I was just in our kitchen unloading the dishwasher and my phone just dinged. And I checked my text and it's the COVID test. I'm negative. I am negative. This is so wonderful. Hubby got his test 30 minutes ago and he's negative too. This is the last piece we need. We are going to the Maldives. We have planned this trip twice, had it canceled for COVID. I have been working on it for 2 years. This is gonna be an epic trip. So subscribe below and follow along because this is gonna be amazing. Now that I have calmed down and I finished my happy dance, I have now put my planner hat back on and I've now started doing all the printing of the documentation I'm gonna take with us on our trip. I know the CDC and the Maldivian government, all these places say that they'll look at our documentation on our phone and they just see electronically. But after reading a lot of forums, I'm finding people who are boots on the ground going through their journeys and they're needing to have paper copies. So I am going to overprint so I make sure I dot every I and cross every T, because for me to get to some counter along the way and them say, you don't have the right paperwork, you have to go back, would be absolutely devastating. So let's start with my COVID test. I've, in my research, found 3 places that may want a copy of our COVID test. The first place is our initial counter at the airlines, because I'm told that they're supposed to gather all of our information, and once they put in the computer that we've provided, I should be cleared all the way to the Maldives and not have any problems. The next place that might want a copy of my COVID test is at the Maldives immigration. Even though on the Maldivian website, I'm told that we upload that to the health bureau's health form, that once you do that, you won't need it, but I'm hearing people that are needing it. The third is that at our resort, they might want a copy of our negative test. We'll be staying at the Cinnamon Don Valley. They have not told us that they're going to want a copy of our negative COVID test, but other people in Maldives are having to present them, so therefore I want to have 3 copies of our COVID test. Now this is something that's important. We had our COVID test done at CVS, and CVS's report is 2 pages, and I'm a saver of paper and ink. I just am. So when you print off the first page of the CVS report, it's the great certificate with your name and your birth date and that you're negative. But on the very second page, there's this little paragraph, and that's where in that paragraph it states the lab's address and city and state the lab is located in. The Maldivian government makes it very clear in their documentation online that any report they're willing to take has to have your name, your birth date, and the name and address of the lab who created the report. So whenever you're printing your CVS test out, make sure you print out both pages. And I'm doing for each of us, myself and hubby, 3 sets. I've also made sure that it's on both of our phones, because the Maldivian government in their information says that they are wanting to see all the individual information for each individual separate on each electronic device. So if you've got 4 people traveling, you need to figure out 4 devices that has all the information on it. The next thing that I played around with was the Maldivian health form. It's all electronic online, and I'll give you the link below where you fill it out. But 2 things to note. One is that when you complete all the information, it creates a QR code, which you're supposed to have on your phone. But that QR code is only good for 24 hours. I went ahead and played with it and printed out mine so that at our initial airport, in case they want to see it, they can see it, even though, according to the Maldivian government, that QR code is not good. But I don't want to have things messed up, because here in the States, they have a little box on their computer that they need to have it. So when it goes to that health form, I went ahead and played around with it, like I said, and filled one out and created a QR code. Things that I thought were interesting that they wanted on that electronic health form was, one, they want a copy uploaded of our negative test results, which makes sense. The other thing is they want a photograph of us, a passport-like, no smiles, no glasses, shoulders up, and so I just snapped a quick picture and uploaded it. So make sure you have on your phone a copy of a picture of yourself, because like for us to have a valid QR code for that health form for the Maldivian government, we're going to be doing that in Dubai, because that is where we hit 24 hours before we arrive in Maldives. The next thing I am printing out, I don't know if anybody's going to need it, and I usually just have this electronically, but I'm fearful, so I'm going to print out, is I'm printing out the reservations for all of our resorts where we're staying. We'll stay a week at the Cinnamon Don Valley, and we'll stay a week on the Scuba Spa, Scuba Yang. I've got both of those now printed out. I don't know if we're going to need those at the airport here to show that we're going to the Maldives, but we're not going to Mali, because right now Americans are not allowed to go into the city of Mali unless you're committing to quarantine at a quarantine hotel for 14 days. So these confirmations of resorts will show that we are not going into Mali, thus we do not need a reservation for a quarantine hotel. I don't know if they'll need it. I've got it. Then in general, I always fly with a copy of my passport printed in case there's a problem, and I've also put on all of our phones a copy of our passports in case there's something that needs that too. So I have printed out COVID test, hotel reservations, a QR code even though it's not valid, and now we're going to Maldives. So please subscribe and join us, because I am just telling you right now, this trip is going to be epic.
Hey everybody, I just want to let you know what it was like to go through ticket check-in just a minute ago with American Airlines to fly to the Maldives. So they pulled everything up, and the first problem that we had was that Qatar now says that you cannot be in Qatar without a different type of vaccine for longer than 24 hours. So we had to work through the fact that we're technically only there for 8 hours, but our flight leaves a day earlier is what it looks like, but we have all the time changes, and that really confused our ticket person. The second thing that gave us trouble was that on Maldives tourism, they say right now that if you do your health declaration form, it's got to be done 24 hours before you arrive into Qatar. Well, we fly for 34 hours, so that's not feasible for us. So we had to sit there and do them at the counter, get the QR codes that say they're going to expire, and we'll have to redo them when we're in Doha when it's actually correct. So that was the thing. Checking our negative PCR test was no big deal. I held up a piece of paper. They didn't even want to keep it. They also didn't even want the Qatar declaration that I was told I was have to fill out and leave with them, but it never hurts to have it. So the 2 things that gave them trouble, once again, was the time changes and how long we're actually in Qatar, and that the tourism board of what the Maldivian government and what American Airlines says right now do not match. So go ahead and get your QR code even though it's not going to be valid. Thanks.